And the winner is... Arctic Monkeys!
That subscriber content, eh? That subscriber content, it just won't go away.
It might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. I think the cyclical nature of the universe in which it exists demands it adheres to some of its rules.
But it's always waiting there, just around the corner, ready to make its way into your ears and smash through the gated payment system, sounding better than ever.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Benefits such as getting ad-free episodes a week early with pre- and post-show chat relating to the monkeys, last Shadow Puppets episodes, bonus podcasts, watch-alongs, plus helping us improve our sound with better equipment and services.
Yeah, this podcast seems like it's fading away sometimes, but with subscribers, it will never die. Thank you very much for listening. We do truly appreciate it. Don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll invoice you for the subscription if we need to.
We're Arctic Monkeys, this is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Check this shit out.
Color in your cheeks. Do you ever get that feel that you can't shift, the tide that sticks around like summits in your teeth? Out of some aces up your sleeve, if you no idea that you're in deep. I dreamt about you nearly every night this week. How many secrets can you keep? 'Cause there's this tune I found that makes me think of you somehow, when I play it on repeat until I fall asleep, and spilling drinks on my settee. If this feeling flows both ways, are you mine? Are you mine? Say you got me, baby, I am mine. So we all go back to yours and you said it's hard to be on the floor. But there's no need to show me around, baby, I feel like I've been here before. I've been wondering where the lanes are, where you tell everybody to go. Will you put me one for the road? Arabella's got some interstellar gator skin boots and a helter-skelter around her little finger, and I ride it endlessly. She's got a Barbarella silver swimsuit, and when she needs to shelter from reality, she takes a dip in my daydreams. On my days end best when the sunset gets itself behind that little lady sitting on the passenger passenger side. It's much less picturesque without a catch in the light. The horizon tries, but it's just not as kind on the eye. Certified mind blower, knowing full well that I don't. I may suggest there's somewhere from which I might know her, just to get the ball to roll. A drunken monologue's confused because it's not like I'm falling in love. I just want you to do me no good, and you look like you could. Mad sounds in your ears make you feel alright. They bring you back to life. Mad sounds in your ears, they make you get up and dance. They make you get up. Yeah, they make you get up. Love buckles under the strain of those wild nights. Run, but you cannot hide. Mad sounds in your ears, they make you get up and dance. They make you get up all night long. They reappear, they make you get up and dance. I can't explain, but I wanna try. There's this image of you and I, and it goes dancing by in the morning and in the night time. There's all these secrets that I can't keep. But in my heart there's that hotel suite, and you live there so long. It's kind of strange now you're gone. Mirror's image tells me it's home time, but I'm not finished, 'cause you're not by my side. And as I arrived I thought I saw you leaving, carrying your shoes. Decided that once again I was just dreaming of bumping into you. Now it's 3 in the morning and I'm trying to change your mind. Left you multiple missed calls and to my message you replied. Why'd you only call me when you're high? High? Why'd you only call me when you're high? Somewhere darker, talking the same shite. I need a partner. I get the feeling I left it too late, but baby, snap out of it. socks. When the zero's running upon a 24-hour clock. When you know who's calling, even though the number is blocked. You walked around your house wearing my sky blue Lacoste and your knee socks. Vacuum cleaner, breathing in your dust. I wanna be your Ford Cortina, I will never rust. If you like your coffee hot, let me be your coffee pot. You call the shots, babe, I just wanna be yours. Secrets I have held in my heart are harder to hide than I thought. Maybe I just wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours. Wanna be yours.
Like AM to me is like, oh, it's kind of a perfect album. AM.
I think that was deliberate.
Hello and welcome to an extra special bonus episode of Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the discography of Arctic Monkeys. Change of pace this week because AM is 10 years old. So we thought, because we've got to wait ages before we actually get onto the proper episodes for that album. So we thought we'd have a little look back at what we were doing then, like reactions to the album, what we liked about it. It'd be cool. With me, Nick Lee, and 10 years on, he's still got colour in his cheeks. It's Dan Holt. Hello, Dan.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, mate. It's nice doing a little. We're recording this on a Sunday. Well, in a twist of fate, we're recording this on a Sunday night, a month, and about 5 weeks before it goes out, because we were under the impression the anniversary was the 1st of August. Thought, Christ, we've got 2 days to record one, and then just as we were about to hit the record button, we had a double check on Wikipedia, and it turns out it came out in September.
Yeah,
Oh,
Google did
that's
us
good.
the dirty with its. Somebody put a misleading post that it was coming up, so I thought, oh, and then I Googled it, and the first thing that came up was the 1st of August. So I wonder why that is. I wonder what. And
Was it erroneous?
And I thought, oh, there we go. And then no, but always good to have something to back in advance. If anything like seminal happens in the next 4 weeks before it comes out, like they release like a demo from it or something that was never released, then we'll just record that and add it on, I guess. I don't think that'll happen.
I do have a little, well, I have respect for Arctic Monkeys anyway, but that's heightened by the fact that
you?
they don't tend to do these cash grab reissues. You know when bands
No,
reissue albums.
I think you got to do it over a long. If it's like 25-year anniversary, I think you're allowed to release a vinyl with some limited edition stuff on it. That's okay. But if you're doing it after 10 years, that is a bit. It's like it's only been 10 years. It's not like. But yeah, I think you're allowed to do it after. I'm quite happy with a quarter of a century re-release, and if they're putting extra content on there, new stuff, then fair play. But I don't think Arctics really have much left in to release. I don't think they had to. Well, I don't know. But I would imagine that they've put everything out that they had for it. I would imagine. I don't know what the re-release would have. The thing is now, a lot of them now, we see ones like Radiohead, people that do it because they're being remastered with better technology, whereas AM will be fine. It's not going to sound any different with some remastering, is it? So...
But I always find that when something claims to be remastered, the sound quality difference is always negligible. There's never a big thing where you think, oh, this sounds bigger, this sounds great. It annoys me when I go to listen to the Beatles on Spotify and I just have to wade through so much like remastered stuff. It makes it look like they did more than they actually did. Because you'll have about 8 different versions of Abbey Road, like the various remasters they've done over the years. It's just like, what's the point, guys?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do anything for the anniversary, and this isn't a heavy deep dive. It's just a little chat because we're obviously going to do our heavy deep dive circa 2025 when we get to it, and we'll be going in depth then. So this is our chat about the time and stuff like that, and songs we like and favorite songs, and which are subject to change because I'm sure as we go by the time we do deep dives. It's already happened with the other albums where songs that we'd forgotten or we knew but had not listened to for a long time, has had positive and negative effects doing a deep dive on them, I would say. Like, for example, me having now a stronger distaste for Old Yellow Bricks than I did a mere month ago. So, yeah.
Didn't think that was going to be your least favourite or favourite worst nightmare, did we?
It's still not my least favorite, but yeah, it's although it's annoyed me more, so it could be my least favorite just because it's pissed me off that it annoyed me so much, I guess. But so that could just out of that, because the bad things like So, I just ignore its existence, so it's fine.
It's there, yeah.
Let down. Old Yellow Bricks is one that could come back as well at any given time, and then I'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. But the first time I'd be unhappy with a song in the set. No, I wouldn't be. I'd still be drunk live, going do 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 do, going, I hate this, but do do do. Doing this ironically. Should we give a brief little bit of information on the album?
I think we should, shouldn't we?
Very brief.
Information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go?
Oh, I'm allowed on this one because it's a bonus one.
Yeah.
Oh, get out on these ones, yeah. Like a
free and
mistress.
easy on the bonus
It's like
episode.
my mistress, isn't it? I'm allowed to do what I want and get out of my system. Like an allowed mistress, like an open relationship, you might say, in this day and age. All the
You're right.
rage.
Don't have to, but you might.
You might. AM is obviously the 5th studio album by the Arctic Monkeys. It was produced by James Ford and co-produced by Ross Orton at Sage and Sound Recording in Los Angeles and Rancho de la Luna in Joshua Tree, California, and was released on the 9th of September, obviously, 2013, and went through Domino. Not the 1st of August, unless it is. And then on the 1st of... Now, this might have quickly been rushed out on the 1st of August because suddenly we found out it was the 1st of August, but no, it wasn't. It was. I actually remembered it being September as well, but I let a quick Google search influence me, which the power of the internet, eh? The power of the internet. It features... We'll save that for tranquility. It obviously features guest appearances by Josh Homme, Bill Ryder-Jones, and Pete Thomas, and drew inspiration from a wide range of genres, including psychedelic rock, blues rock, hard rock, heavy metal, desert rock, R&B, and soul. It says here, AM notably marks Arctic Monkeys' first venture into hip-hop. Oh, I do not think that is correct. That is definitely not correct. Yeah, and this was obviously their different style of recording on this one as well. They took a different path with how they would record it. It's because I was thinking about this, because sometimes, when we said about we were listening to 505 and going, it's easy, or other ones who've said it's easy to be snobby about it as a song and going like, oh, you forget how good it is. Or like the first album as well, I used to be like, kind of like, yeah, okay, it's good, but we've moved on. But then going back and going, oh, no, I forgot what it meant and stuff and how good it is. I feel like AM has slipped into that a bit over the past 10 years, where I underappreciate how good it was at the time and how it is good it still is, obviously, and how much I do like it, because that's perhaps because of the band's change and going with that, and then being a bit like, and obviously because there's a lot with AM, there's a lot of fans that jumped on, and then you get annoyed when they hangers on and then they start slagging them off, and it's like, well, we only jumped on for the last one, so let's not. I don't know, my perception is now of it is that I'm sure that when I loved all of it, and I'm sure when we do a deep dive, I'll capture back that feeling of 10 years ago. Because it was, I don't know about you, but it did sort of change my life at the time a little bit, I think. It was such a seminal album. It was so unexpected, because I'd loved all their albums, but I didn't expect them to do another big album. I thought we were done with that kind of after, the first one. But yeah, I just remember, it really changed. It was just like the coolest thing ever at the time. It was like the coolest thing anyone's ever done.
Along with it as well, the whole aesthetic and the look of the band, which just matched it so perfectly. And it was, even the sleeve just looks cool. Like the album cover, it's just cool, isn't it? Like,
it was just sexy, wasn't it? Everything was sexy.
Yeah,
everything
sexy
about it, from them as a band, to the videos, to the music, to the style, to the gigs and everything. Like they did everything right. And I think they've said, I know it's a bit of a a joke thing now, but when on the last tour, when Zane Lowe said AM is a perfect album, isn't it? And Alex kind of fought for a second and said, I think that was on purpose. But I think it was, because I think what he means is it was because they really like, I've seen Jamie saying it was the first time they looked at every single aspect of it and how can we change this and make it perfect, so that it was like, because they were very raw before that and just recorded live, didn't they? And this was the one where they changed that up and really got into the sort of nitty gritty of producing it. And it just, the whole thing again, another, like, when we talk about the Humble documentary, I'd love there to be some documentary movie of footage from around this time, like, because it must have been so, in my head, like, at the time, I remember just always fantasizing about this, them in LA, going to parties, and then at the night, being in the studio all night in this space in LA, and going out drinking and coming back and honing this sound in this super, like, cool. It must have just been the coolest thing ever, making this album. Can you imagine how they must have thought when they were doing it? Like, wow, these tunes are like, they must have felt like, I know people don't know when it's going to be like a big hit or commercial, but I think they must have thought like this could be a big one, because
it's really interesting from that aspect of it, because for a band that's been, I mean, they've been going for like 20 years or so now, but to have 2 generation defining albums that define different generations, I mean Oasis were going for what, 15, nearly 20 years, and they never had that. Like, probably the biggest rock band to come out of this country apart from Arctics, and like in recent years, recent generations. So for that, it's just astonishing that you've got these 2 generations of fans, like 2 different ages, and hopefully there'll be a third on the way. Hopefully there'll be a third, like, generation defining album. I would not.
I think there will. No, I think there will be, to be quite honest with you. But I think they do that. I think they build towards something, because if you think about the process, it was weird because they did Suck It and See, and that came out, and it was, I mean, obviously my favorite album, so it was great. And then halfway through that, Alex changed his look, and the band, because they already had that kind of look, and then they changed it into this sort of LA 60s look type thing, and then with the jackets and stuff, and then a year after that, they dropped Are You Mine as a track, and that blew. I mean, that's a song that I think gets very short shrift by the fans, or people forget what a good song that is. That's because it, I wouldn't say it's my favorite song on AM, but I would also say it's my favorite song on AM, because I still stand by, I've not heard a better rock and roll, and as I always say, very specifically rock and roll, not rock. I haven't heard a better rock and roll song than Are You Mine, that had the perfect riff and lyrics since it got released. I haven't heard another song that's been as cool as that when it dropped. And I remember it changed everything when it dropped, waking up and seeing the video and being like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? This is amazing. I thought we were past the point of them doing something like that, I guess, maybe, but or just unexpected, and then that changed everything. And then you think, I wonder what the album's going to be like, and you find out that Are You Mine's on it, and you're like, So it's going to be. So I was like, oh, it's going to be like that. Then it's just going to be rock songs. And you hear Do I Want to Know, and you go, yeah, okay, that's a bit similar, a bit of a hip hop vibe. And then you hear Are You Mine, and you go, yeah, that's how the album's going to be. And then you hear it, and what you get is, Dre 2001 type album for some of it. Yeah,
there's everything in there, literally. Every genre they've ever been influenced by is in there in one album. It's like this is what they were working towards from beneath the boardwalk onwards, and then just everything converges, and it's perfect.
I've said it before. I think that is what happened in that it was the culmination. That album is the culmination of their influences growing up with people like Roots Maneuver and Helder's hip hop influence and that, and it's also Jamie's influence with Black Sabbath and stuff like that, with the rocker elements. All their influences together. It's that sound that they were doing, which was rock hip hop with the first album. There's that, and then the second album, obviously, Favourite's Nightmare as well, and doing stuff like the song with Dizzy, and then going out to be with somebody like Josh Homme in LA, fall in love with LA, and then Suck It and See being their first thing with James Ford in LA, and having this kind of some rock songs on it that were a bit Queens of the Stone Age-esque, particularly the B-sides, having these love songs on there as well, these melodic songs, and having this sound, it all came together to create AM. And that's why after that, I think a change had to happen, because I think they had taken that to its extreme. You can't. They had taken that to its pinnacle. Because what do you do after that? When you've been building towards something and then you achieve it and it's perfect, you then have to change. Otherwise, it's probably just not going to be the same over again. So, I honestly think that's what happened, and it was so big as well. And do you ever think about like songs or albums of being influenced by the place they're recorded?
Yes. Yeah.
I can't imagine an album that sounds. Oh, there are albums that sound the same as it, like 2001 by Dre, for example. I can't imagine an album that couldn't sound any more like a band's recorded it in LA. It sounds like an LA album, doesn't it? It just sounds like they've recorded it in LA. I picture it all the time, and it's kind of, and there's a lot of songs and albums like that. I think the Eagles, Hotel California, obviously called Hotel California, but I do picture very specifically like Dusk of LA, I think, when I hear that, rather than anything else. But yeah, I think AM is like, it is LA. It's entwined in it. I think there's no way around it. Even though weirdly, obviously, Why Do You Want to Come When You're High is in London, the video, but I still think it just had that. It just makes you. Did it ever at the time? It just made me want to go out all the time, though. That was the only. They never like just being. Whenever I'd listen to it, I'd be like, I've got nothing to do tonight as well. And I'd be like, fuck's sake.
Something I've not had since the first album, really.
Yeah.
The whole thing of like, I need to go out now.
Yeah. It was also an album that made people who had been slagging them off because of Hamburg or Suck It and Say, or thought they weren't living up to what people wanted, like they still do now. AM was the one that made everyone go like, oh yeah, everyone shut their mouths and no one could say anything bad about it, could they really? But it also made a lot of people that don't like this type of music hate them profusely, put them in the spotlight, and that's why people that don't like this genre, I think, really viscerally don't like them, is because when you see a band getting all these laudits that you don't like, you like gets you more furious, I suppose. Yeah. But no, it had a cultural impact that was like, even the people that don't know them, everyone will know, don't want to know, or Why Do You Want to Call When You're High? I've seen Americans where they'll do videos online and they'll be like, they'll go like, listen to Arctic Monkey song or whatever, and they'll go, oh yeah, I've never really heard them, but I remember that song. Like, Do I Want to Know, or something on the radio or something like that. So it just kind of became I don't know, yeah, it took them to another tier culturally, didn't it?
I think Do I Want to Know in particular became one of them songs that was just ubiquitous, that everyone knew. You know, stuff like, I mean, it's better than it, but Mr. Brightside, that type of thing where it's just there. Everyone knows it. Everyone's aware of its presence and stuff, and it's similar to Mr. Bright, because Mr. Brightside, I don't think has left like the top. I think it's been in the top 100 of the UK charts ever since it released. It's never fallen out of the top 100, and I think AM might be the same. The album, I'm pretty sure the album stayed in the charts constantly.
Well, Wanna Be Yours hit over 1 billion fairly recently, didn't it? Obviously, Do I Want to Know, and that did it a while ago, but I'm pretty sure Why Do You Want to Call Me, one of the two recently hit over 1 billion on the stream, so that would imply that it's still getting obviously heavy rotation from people. But yeah, I think it was, as well, I do think there's something, yeah, you're right, from the beginning this is the pinnacle of everything, and also just those few years between 2011 to this, you had to have everything happen the way it did from before that, and particularly during that time. Even I think the Black Keys tour as well, when they opened for them on tour, that made it, because I think one thing I'll always say about them is that, and again, Perfect Storm, they did the America thing right. Because they didn't have the ego of going like, oh well, we have to play small venues here. We only play large venues in the UK. Yeah, and just going, well, yeah, we'll gig because this is a country we're not known in, so we'll treat it the same as we did when we were an unsigned band. Well, we'll do it. And at the point they were at, they were reasonably well known in America. They had a strong fan base in 2011. So a lot of bands would have gone opening for the Black Keys. No, I'm not going round opening for another band where fucking Arctic Monkeys, where you don't open. But no, you have the humble thing to go, well, that's really going to build our presence with a rock crowd as well, or people that like blues stuff like in America that don't know us, because we're going to come on first and play our kind of cool rock tunes as well. Just doing building your presence. So then when it was perfect for them, because AM was then an album that would open them up into the market even more in America because of all the work they'd done before as well. So do you think under a different Here you go. Was it not nominated for any Grammys when we saw him? We were shocked, like, or barely any. That's a bit of an That's an oversight on the Grammys part, surely, because it was a
Without a
well-received album universally. So I don't.
Yeah,
That's very odd.
Won pretty much every other award going.
That's so strange
because he swept the board everywhere with it.
Because I think in the band categories, it kind of fits the Grammy mold because they love hip hop and stuff in the Grammys. B, it was definitely the biggest alternative music album if you're going to put it in there, and also definitely the biggest album by a British band that year, or sorry, by a non-American band that year, I would say. So I don't. Yeah, it's a very odd oversight for it not because I always used to think like. I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, this is going to be their Grammy-winning album. Because if you're not going to win a Grammy for AM, what are you going to win a Grammy for? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
It is a perfect album.
Yeah. What's the point?
Like, yeah, I just find that so odd. What an oversight. But maybe that's just because of the profile. Do you think because I did always used to think like it could have easily gone to number one on the bill. I assume it went to number one on the Billboard chart in terms of alternative music. Let's have a quick look. I mean, it's in a lot of top 50. It was number one in a lot of top 50 albums of that year.
It was number 6 on the Billboard 200.
So number 6 is very high to be in the Billboard.
Very high,
and that's the main Billboard chart, yeah.
That's the main Billboard chart. And then it was first in the top alternative albums, first in the US independent albums, first in the US top rock albums, and first in the top tastemaker albums. That's all. That's all the Billboard charts.
So how it didn't get nominated for any Grammys, at the very least, best rock album or whatever the categories are, or best alternative album, or I think it could have just been in the main ones, to be honest. You could have put it in fucking best hip hop album to quite and show you what else was out that year that was better than it from a hip hop album.
Genre spanning.
Yeah, very, very odd. Best rock album. I think it was the best rock album that year. I just seen here the magazine Consequence of Sound, top 50 albums of 2013. AM was number 45. I don't know what 45 albums they put ahead of AM that year, because I don't remember hearing 45 albums that were better.
That's mental. Absolutely mental.
That's not even
looking at the
thing with AM is it's not even a debatable like Tranquility stuff like that, where you can go, it's not other people's cup of tea, and you can kind of go, well, we like it, but with AM you kind of just go, why didn't it get more plaudits? Because it's clearly just speaking non-biased to every person. It was an amazing album, so I don't yeah, very odd, but the streams speak for themselves, I guess.
Looking at the weekly charts, it's top 10 everywhere. So number one in the UK, number one in Portugal, New Zealand, Ireland, Netherlands, Denmark, Croatia, Belgium, and Australia. Top 10 everywhere else, apart from two countries letting the side down. It only got to number 14 in Sweden and 23 in Hungary.
Wow.
Which is,
to be fair, with it
strange.
being number one in the Netherlands, like what? I mean, to get there, what's the population? You've got like what, about 8 Lost Boys, Peter Pan, Tinkerbell. That's only like 10 people that have got a Captain Hook. There's not, you've only got to sell that many really to get to number one. So I won't be too impressed.
But the thing is, Captain Hook, he'll have to buy extra copies, won't he? Because he'll always scratch it when he's putting it on the.
So he's got,
every time he puts on a turntable.
You're saying it's a false economy, in the Netherlands there. Yeah, although he prefers a little bit of when you're in love with a.
I was going to say Dr. Hook. Yes, I'm so glad you're going that way.
When you're in love with a beautiful woman's more his cup of tea.
I always think Dr. Hook would be a good name for an abortionist.
Yep.
That's what it says in the tin. Leave that one to hang.
Well, that's what they said. That's what they said when they went in there. What do you think's the bigger album? Whatever people say, That's What I'm Not, or AM in their discography. Or do you think you have to put it in different categories? Because whatever people say AM is more of a generational album than AM, I suppose. And it would always appear in like top whatever British albums, whereas AM might not, but it should. Do you think? And actually, follow-up question on that: Okay, so that is that, and I think, but AM is obviously more globally commercial than the first one, but mainly because as well a lot of the themes are more accessible to people outside the UK as well. So, do you think AM would have got way more, even more plaudits than it already did in success and awards, and people were talking about it being one of the best albums of all time? Because it doesn't really seem to be in those conversations for some reason. Do you think people would be saying that if it was a debut album by a band? Because that always gets more buzz, doesn't it, than like a fifth album? Because no one's expecting it in the fifth album. Not many bands, or fucking barely any bands, ever have a seminal fifth. You never hear about the seminal fifth album that they released. Like,
you know, go back to like the 60s for that sort of thing.
Yeah. Like we said when we were trying to think of bands that have done that, we could only really get Radiohead and Arctic Monkeys that had like big albums at that point. But
I'm just having a look at what the Beatles' fifth album was. So yeah, the Beatles' fifth album was Help. So a good album, but not a seminal one for me.
No, but people would know it. But yeah,
people would know it. Yeah, but it's certainly not on the same level as stuff like Sgt. Pepper's or Abbey Road.
No,
or Evolver. But
yeah, it's. Do you think it would have been even more bigger received? Like if they were a new band and they dropped AM, I think it would have been even more like. Because do you think it doesn't make it into the top album lists because whatever people say, AM's already there? Although Radiohead usually get like 4 albums in those lists, don't they? So
usually do. Radiohead usually have like 2 or 3 in the top 10 of these lists. Usually.
I actually think AM's a better album than whatever people say. In terms of everything other than my own love for the first one and nostalgia. It's better produced, it's better lyrically, they're playing their instruments better, it's commercially better, if that's something you want to talk about. I'm not saying I prefer it, or that because what people have got nostalgia and special feelings.
I mean, nothing's topping whatever people say for me, but like I said, that's all wrapped up in the nostalgia. And well, here's a related question, and wrapped up, saying about it being wrapped up in the nostalgia, and because we were like living a similar life when that first album came out. What were you doing when this album came out? What was your thing?
I think, and I'm just going to check, but I'm pretty sure around the time this came out, it was 2013. Yeah, 2013. I was living in a flat in Stockport with my friend. I was smoking a lot of weed at the time. GTA 5 came out 2 weeks after this. So that's kind of linked in my mind to it, because at the time, that was like the biggest video game. It still fucking is, but it was like the biggest video game ever. And it was an amazing game. This whole time for me, there's 3 things that were interlinked. Okay, personally, there was other stuff like a bad relationship, but yeah, there was there was pop culture wise. I feel like it was AM, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Breaking Bad were all this circle that linked together because GTA 5 kind of linked to Breaking Bad because it used a lot of narrative techniques that it did. Yeah, and it had the little sipping between different characters and stuff. And then AM, I was playing it a lot of the time, but also obviously it had an LA feel to it. And I know Breaking Bad isn't LA, but it has that kind of desert vibe to it. And then also the fact that weirdly Alex, his girlfriend at the time, knew Aaron Paul, so he was hanging out with Aaron Paul, which was crazy. So it was this weird. When I think about that time, I definitely think about those 3 things being interlinked. And yeah, what I was doing was I was working in a job that I hated at the time before I made a career change. I was sitting in the evenings on my days off, smoking weed, playing GTA 5, and listening to AM. So they're all linked.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I was 23, I guess. Yeah, 23. Yeah.
23. Yeah. Yes, I would have been 20. Yeah, I'd have been 26.
Just turned 30.
Cough. Silly, mate. Jesus Christ! I don't think I had any more fucking years on. I'd just come out of a long relationship and had moved back in with mum and dad.
Fucking hell. A lot's changed in the past decade.
So I had the same experience of AM and the car, basically.
Are you mine? Right, okay. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, so what, you were just again smoking weed when I just playing GTA 5 and listening to it. Yeah. Maybe we all
I didn't have a console at the time, so I had to wait like another year or so before I could get on GTA. But I so it was when I just met my friend Emma then as well. So we used to go to county either home or away on the Saturday, and then we go out in Cheadle after. And they used to
Hume.
Hume, yeah, because Emma lived around there at the time. That's where
Very
her parents
posh.
lived around.
For
Very
you.
posh, yeah. Yeah. Don't let me back in now. Ever since well, there
Good
was a place there that had a jukebox. I can't remember what the pub was called, but they had a really good jukebox. And I remember putting this just loading my money in and putting this whole album on.
The Kenny, was it?
We were proper Chill Hume.
You're only drinking there if you like fucking Man United anyway. But yeah, but anyway, when this came out, and I do remember as well it making me want to go out. It made me. I was in a relationship that wasn't very well. It made me even more want to be single. If I'm being honest, this album a lot. Yeah.
See, I was single at the time, but I don't think I really appreciated it.
You running a bar at this time as well.
This album was No, it was just around. That was just around the time that I'd left. I think I was.
Okay.
So I was working at a post office at the time.
Oh, was that long ago that you ran the bar? Right. Okay. I thought it was sooner than that.
So 2013-ish would have been the time that I left, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've slept since then. But
I know a good song about 2013. It's if you need to re-document what it was. Historical document.
But I remember going out on a Saturday night, and then there was a couple of times where we'd been out, and then I went home only to find that they'd released a new video for the next single. So it was "Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High" was the one I remember. And I remember getting home absolutely hammered, putting it on, watching the video, and thinking, I want to go back out now. I want to go back out and play.
Yeah, it did always make me want to just be drunk and be out trying to meet women. That was generally what this, because 10 years ago I was not, I was more of a pariah than I am now. But Pariah Carey, they used to call me back then. But it was, it definitely did. It was just a sexy album on it. It just made you feel like you wanted to be out being sexy all the time, whichever it was. I remember even the Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High and the video and everything. It just made me want to be like, even though the actual living that kind of being I've very much been the protagonist of that song. The person doing the texting, and it's not as glamorous as the song is. Maybe if you're Alex Turner, because you're not just like, they're probably always going to say yes, and they're not going to hate, In most situations, it's the girl that you've spoken to, you've had about 4 messages with on the dating app, and you're setting up a date, but then you get drunk and you go, should we meet now? And all that means is that it just puts them off, doesn't it? Because you know what that means. At 3 a.m, getting a text going, should we meet now? And a picture of your dick. Meat, MEAT.
But the purest sense of the word.
The meat cute, not so cute. So I did the whole time's linked with a lot of weed smoking, a lot of drinking, a lot of wanting to have sex, and a lot of playing good GTA 5. For facts on GTA 5, that game was so big that I was off on the day off and I was waiting by the door for the Amazon delivery of it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And knock at the door of the flat. I open it. Postman stood there and I'm signing for it. And he goes, is that GTA 5? And I went, yeah. And he went, oh, I can't wait to finish to go play it. My wife said I got a Hoover when I get in though. I was like, yeah, it was. I remember listening to it. We listened to it a lot and just being like, because I think again I got it early. I would have got it before the 9th of September because I think it was another one of like Monkeys seem to leak early, don't they? So I definitely had it before the 9th of September and was listening to like demos of it through the PlayStation while I was because you used to be able to do a thing on that where you could play music through the game while you were playing it. So I just had AM on and AM. In Grand Theft Auto 5 set in LA, I should say as well. So that's even more of a fake LA. But yeah, all that time is linked into that and going out, and it felt like the first album felt like perfect for that time. Second album felt like that as well. This album felt like that for me as well. And then when Tranquility came out, late 20s, slightly different perspective on life. Tranquility felt right for that as well. And it's they always seem to be chasing it. Maybe it's because we're a similar age to them in a way. Close. You're closer, but we're the same pretty much. So they always seem to do that, but it always feels like. But I'd say they've had 2 generational albums, in my opinion. This and that, I think, which you don't get a lot.
Record. You can't argue with that, can you?
What's your favorite song then? Now, again, subject to change as we get into the deep dive where we're listening to, because we generally, I do. I'm sure you do as well, is I listen to the song at least once or twice a day, every day in the 6 days in between where we're not recording it, and I get a good heavy listen, and then I listen to the instrumental, and then I listen, so at the minute I have one, subject to change though. What's yours?
Right this second, it's
Gun to your head right now.
One for the road right now.
Yeah.
Right now it is. It never has been. At no point in the last 10 years has that been my favorite song on the album. But now, yeah. Prior to that, it was probably
what was your
party anthem of Fireside before that?
Has there been what's the run up mine when it first came out? I think mine was Arabella. Same. I mean, but again, I'm putting Are You Mine in a different bracket because I just think it's such an important song that I'm kind of saying it's my favorite song on it in like a different way. But yeah, it was Are You Mine because that came out before, obviously, way before. Although a different version, slightly. And then Arabella was my favorite, and then my favorite now, and it has been my favorite for a long time actually, is Knee Socks.
Yes,
it's been my favorite. It's probably since about 6 months in to the first album release, I'd say. I used to listen to my favorite. It's my favorite bit on the album as well. Is the you mean could be my baby. That bit in the falsetto that I could only ever dream of doing.
Yeah, if only. That's a song that gets a bit of an unfair press, I think.
Great movie reference as well, though.
In the set list. Yes,
do you know the reference? Yeah,
absolutely. The Mean Streets.
Because it opens with "Be My Baby." Mean Streets, the film opens with "Be My Baby," so that's why they say "Will you be my baby" in it. So what a great reference.
That's cool, isn't it?
That is cool.
For an album that oozes cool, that is like extra cool.
Well, this is it. I think Helder's falsetto adds a lot to the coolness. That was peak, obviously, when Helder's falsetto took its peak as well. But yeah, I think there was also a time, I think, because so what let's go for it then. Don't want to know, obviously, great. Again, when that came out, but again, underappreciated now because you kind of feel like you've heard it 60 million times. So you're like,
it's just one of them that's constantly.
Yeah, but if I could hear it again for the first time today, I'm sure I'd think it was like the best thing they've ever done. So then Are You Mine? One for the Road's an interesting choice. It's one of the ones I don't crack out anymore. I forget about it. I often forget about it, as do the band, it seems. But I crack out. But I do love One for the Road because that is the first after the first two, and you think, oh, they're doing this rock album. It's pretty much just a hip hop tune, that in it. It's just and I love the music video taking the piss out of like a rap video, but it's on a tractor, with the car and the angle's different. And then you got Arabelle, which is kind of another rock tune. Again, more than a hip hop tune, although vibes, obviously. I Want It All, which you didn't like, but you've changed it's growing on you. I love I Want It All. It's just a glam rock tune, but I love it for that bit, as we've already said, when he goes falsetto in the middle. I just love that. And that's sexy. That bit is like one of the sexiest moments on the album for me when he says drank miniature whiskeys and shared a Coke. I'm like, oof, yes, I want to be in one of those motels with some tart. At the time, this was my fault. The whole album. The whole album. Oh, with Alex. And a tart. And a lady. But for the whole album at the time was just fantasizing about being out in LA and meeting women. Like there was a period of time where I considered just packing my bags and just going. I think I really fell into its like spell. And being in one of those motels, drinking miniature whiskeys. What did you say? Drinking miniature whiskey.
We drank miniature whiskey and shared your Coke.
I'm starting to worry that that's a drug reference I haven't got again. Why do I keep not getting these Coke references? I'd always assumed it was because you drink some of the drink whiskey and then you share the bottle of Coke. Because it's too. Normally he hides it. He wouldn't just say share your Coke, right?
Yeah. I made a note of that the other week when I listened to it.
Do you think it's a drug reference or not? Because I think it's too obvious.
No, I don't think it is. It's too obvious.
So I've not missed another great one. Yeah.
No, you haven't.
He wouldn't say that, would he? He wouldn't say share your Coke.
He wouldn't outright come and say like in
but it could also be.
The version of Nettles on Live at the Apollo where it says louder, louder marching powder. That's the kind of drug reference he's going to make, and he's not going to be
like the Fake Tales one I didn't get, or a whole song about doing coke that we'll review in the future, which is the lyrics don't say it, but if you've ever taken a lot of cocaine, you'll see you'll get I've never thought that before again because I think it's too obvious, and because he says miniature whiskeys and you think about the cokes in the fridge and sharing. Why did you do it? So, and then obviously number one party album was That was kind of my favorite for a while as well, I think, to be fair, because it's like a Suck It and See song, but sexy. That's how I always think of it. It's like those love songs of Suck It and See, but then amped up in an LA fucking strip club, sexy as fuck, like type.
That was my favourite for so long. That was. It's
I
still
do
that
like the
album,
lyrics.
album.
And again, with Alex, it's that thing where it's really sexy, but the lyrics are actually about something quite insecure. So, as we'll get to, but you know, what's your least favorite one on the album? Well, so I Want It All is your least favorite, actually. It's what it is.
You know what? I'm not sure because I can, as we discussed
I
around
don't
the
think I
time
have
of
one,
going
to
to
be
see
honest.
him live, and when we talked about set lists and stuff, I Want to Be Yours, maybe.
Yeah, I think now it has, because I think at the time I thought I really liked it and thought it was really cool, and I like how it sounds like a sort of a Leah tune or something, and it's got these ridiculous lyrics. But yeah, if I'm gonna crack on, I really want to listen to AM now. Hopefully, everyone who's listening to this is going to go listen to AM after this. When we talk about it, you go, "Oh, yeah, that album."
No, I'm doing tonight now.
I think it gets your pants off. I think it gets a short shrift, like I said at the start, in terms of, well, even us, we've said it before about because I think when all these fans come on and want somewhere, and you see yourself as a proper fan, and they're just the hangers on and stuff, it makes you put off the commercial thing, in the same way that Radiohead fans hate Creep and stuff like that, and Oasis, well, not Oasis fans, but like other bands that don't like some of the tunes. But I think Blur fans and Part Life are a bit like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I think AM's fell into that trap of us forgetting how great it was, just because it was so big and we love the band, and because they changed direction, and you get a bit snobby, like, no, I can't think of, but there isn't a song I don't like.
No,
there isn't a song I don't
for
like,
me.
And there isn't a song that I would even say like even dislike a little bit. I love them all.
No, there's nothing I dislike.
There's nothing wrong. It is a perfect album in that sense. What do you think lyrically at this point? Was this his best? I know Suck It and See is very good.
Yeah, I think thematically as well, a lot of it's very close to the first album.
Very similar.
A lot of people
obviously
don't comment on, but
we'll dig into it. It's
similar.
pretty much the first album, but and that's probably why we connected with it as well. Is it's the first album, but when you're about 5 years older, I'd say. But yeah, no, it is. It's about going out shagging, basically, isn't it? So, and hitting people up. I mean, Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High and View from the Afternoon are essentially about similar things, aren't they? Verse and chapter in your inbox, etc. Why do you want to come in high? Get short shift as well, and I never put that on, but I should because it's great. I think the singles are the least ones I listen to.
It's astonishing. Talking of singles, Do What I Know, Are You Mine, One for the Road, Arabella, Why Do You Want to Come When You're High, and Snap Out of It, all singles. That's like some Green Day American Idiot level. Like singles releasing, isn't it?
You just reminded me that my least favorite song on the album is "Snap Out of It."
It always was for me, but
I don't know why. And again, I don't dislike it by any means. But if you put a gun to my head and said the song that you least like on the album, I would say, if I had to give one up, if I had to give one of the songs up to never listen to again. Okay, yeah. What's the song you give up if you could never listen to a song on AM again? Mine would be "Snap Out of It," I think.
Mine would have been, because I was constantly bemoaning the fact that it's constantly in the set list still, like when there's other songs that I'd rather hear. But
Knee Socks being one.
I just think it's cool. Yeah, but if there's one I could never hear again, I'd probably pick once again I Want to Be Yours. I'm quite happy with the John Cooper Clarke musical version there. I'm quite happy with that. I'd still have that. You're not taking that away from me. So and that
no, we are.
Do it for me.
What's the song that if you could have one? No, sorry. If you could only listen to one song in AM ever again.
See, it's not even a song that really is a good representation of the album musically, but number one party anthem.
Well, I'm going to have to divide it because I'm going to have to say Are You Mine because I couldn't give up Are You Mine for the rest of my life. I just couldn't. I love that. I think it's a great tune. So let's take the singles as read. It would be Knee Socks then for me, yeah. But no, I'd hate to have to give up number one party anthem there. If you could only hear one of the songs live again, taking the singles as read, if you could only ever hear any of the singles again, actually, which one would you pick out of the singles to hear again?
Singles, probably. I'll probably have Arabella. I'd want to hear Arabella.
You'd want to hear Arabella again. Yeah, that's tough to give up Arabella, isn't it? But I'm gonna have to say Are You Mine again. I think if you had to give up, I'm gonna say okay, I can have Are You Mine because they released it in 2012, so I can have that still anyway.
I'm hoping when the men come and impose this awful selection choice on me, I can just say, well, no, I can still keep the single version of Are You Mine from here before. I still have that.
Yeah,
so I've got a loophole. It's fine.
So I would keep Arabella. Yeah, if you had to give up one of the tunes from the singles to never hear again out of the singles, which one would it be?
Oh, this is going to be controversial. Do I want to know?
I think I'm going to say Do I Want to Know as well.
But
One for the Road maybe there as well, because I could not hear that ever again, I think, and be okay with it. Because I haven't listened to One for the Road, apart from when I put the vinyl on or something. I haven't searched and clicked on One for the Road in years. I've got nothing against it, I just haven't. But Do I Want to Know? Yeah. But it's because it's just been done to death on it, and we've heard it so many times live and on every live gig, and yeah, I don't know. And I think it peaked with being the opening of the AM tour and the Glastonbury and everything, and it's not now. It's like in the middle of the set, it's not as interesting. It's not as interesting, is it? I actually would.
It's never going to get.
If I was them, no. If I was them, I'd still have it just as the opening of the encore. To be quite honest with you, why not keep it? I think it suits an opening of some kind. Usually,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Much like this album made me feel at the time. But yeah. If you could only hear one of them live again, taking the singles as read.
I can't. Oh, this is horrible. Knee Socks.
Yeah, same. It's a great live tune as well.
Especially if they do the version they did last year with like where it goes all Queens of Stone Age at the end.
Oh yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
I think they could improve that song live, and then they go and do that. I'm just like, well done, lads.
Well, you forget because of the way the style of the song is, the actual guitar is perfect. And also, I used to love the way they'd start it live, where it would be the and that guitar live is really, because obviously they had to kind of, I think this was the first time that they had to try and adapt the songs live because the sounds had been so produced in the studio that they had to recreate a lot of that sound live, which was a struggle. So they had to do that, and the Knee Socks guitar live is absolutely sexy as fuck. That like Knee Socks is my favorite song on the album. That's confirmed, all of it. I'd also have Knee Socks as a live song. If you only had to hear one of the singles live ever again, which one would it be? Mine would be Are You Mine, just to put it out
there. Well, I'm still using my loophole there, so
no, because they had the 2012 one, so they're not going to play that song live at all. It's not about you listening to it; it's about them playing it live. So they're not gonna.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Are You Mine then, because it's.
I still think it works. I still think it works as the closer. It's great.
Unless they decide to bring Certain Romance back as the closer, in which case I'll be like, sorry, lads.
I think. Well, I think for me, Are You Mine's like the new the dance floor of its day, but much better. Well, the dance floor is more culturally like important, I guess, but also some quick brief of videos from this. One for the Road video, obviously great. Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High? Funny and great. Obviously, like him seeing like them fucking in there. It's very unlike them. They never done shagging in a video before, despite the fact all the songs are about it. Are You Mine video is the best, I'd say. And also shout out to the second Are You Mine video, which is the live performance filming, which is amazing. To just shoot it in one shot like that as a Birdman style. That's a great video. I love that video. But yeah, especially the start when Alex Seven is fagging away to go on stage, and it was just like, oh, you're so cool. You're also fucking cool.
It's not fair.
Barely take it. I mean, the amount of times I've got absolutely fucked and forced people to watch that video, and my fart is like, mucho gracias. The video to one for the Road's funny. One for the Road is a great. Like I say, I'm going to listen to it now. I want to listen to it because I forget about how cool that is, and also how sexy it is as well as a song as well, and that kind of idea of that One for the Road. You're gonna hang back and you're gonna basically fuck it being the kind of There's a video. There's another video, isn't there? Am I forgetting one?
So there's Snap Out of It.
Yes, probably my least favorite video actually.
Definitely the worst video they've done. Yeah,
ever. Oh, I thought you said it. You said it in a way of ever, and it was a very definitive way that you said that.
I think in terms of the videos where, so I'm not counting like the fake tail, both videos for fake tails where it's just. Oh no, maybe I should count. Yeah, okay, maybe not ever, but it's one of the worst, definitely. In time honored tradition, as we do every week, with every track we do, we talk about our favorite lyric in the track, our favorite bit of music in the track. So we'll do that here. So it'll be interesting when we get round to doing the wrap up of this album. Once we covered it, it'll be interesting to see how that changes. So let's go for our favorite lyric.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Mine is. It's got to be because I think it's one of my favorite lyrics that he's ever done. So it's got to be like a helter skelter around my little finger, and she rides it endlessly. I think it's got to be.
Yeah, that is just possibly the sexiest lyric ever. It's
yeah.
Now, as much as I want to pick that, I did have another one in because I had a feeling you were going to choose that as well. So I had another one in reserve, which is "It's not like I'm falling in love. I just want you to do me no good." Probably the second sexiest lyric of all time.
Yes, that lyric, number one party anthem, is amazing. Yeah, and it's again so true of that. I remember at the time, so like wanting to just be free and single and just as you do, as is my want. As is my want, and that that's the perfect description of. It's not, and I'm not looking to. I'm looking for a good time. Not for a long time, just a good time. It's like Alex's version of that, but less creepy. more sweet in a way. Yeah, that's a great one. And again, shout out. I love the fact that he's referencing a Scorsese film in falsetto part of not just referencing the film, referencing a use of a song at the opening of the film as well. It's just a cool cultural reference. Yeah. So yeah, got to do that. But also sexy as fuck is, as we said, drink miniature whiskey and shared Coke. Yeah. And also
the sexy lyrics, aren't we?
Oh fuck, that's this album.
Don't believe the hype towers.
Yeah, I mean, this album is just sexy lyrics, and I mean, even like my girlfriend always says about "Do I Want to Know." She says when we say like, "Oh yeah, it's easy to forget how good it is," she always says, "But you forget a lot of the great lyrics like fall asleep on your settee and all that kind of stuff." And that does have a different. You forget a lot of the good lyrics, and let's not even. I mean, Are You Mine? We could talk about the lyrics on that; they're fucking great as well. So. Another cultural reference in there to Thunderbirds of all things. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be digging into all of that when we get to it. What's your favorite musical moment?
Bad sounds in your ear that make you get up and down.
This is horrible because there's so much to pick from. But as of this moment, mine's actually from that particular song that we've used for the jingle. It's from Mad Sounds. At the moment, it's the.
I forgot about Mad Sounds. I haven't mentioned that. Fucking hell.
I know. I've got. I do like that. Oh shit! That should have come into some of my lists of sort of songs that I really like as well because I love that. It's the part where he stops singing. It just comes to the bass and the organ comes in. And it's the same bass line as. Is it? It might be my Girl by the Temptations. It's a very similar bass line to that. It's
underrated song. Bad Sounds, not My Girl by famously not an underrated song. Because I reckon a lot of people listening to this, and I could be wrong, sorry fans, or maybe more the general reader, Mad Sounds would probably be the least favorite song on the album, but that's not right because it's a corker. But in the midst of all I think in the midst of all the commerciality of the album, Mad Sounds is one that the average person would be like, I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, favorite musical moment has got to be a thing. I mean, you got to put the fucking Are You Mine riff aside because, I mean,
just take that as red.
Just take that as red. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the solo in Arabella because there's never a point where that doesn't get my juices flowing. So yeah.
But then the bass line from "Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High" as well.
It's a perfect album. You know what I'm gonna say?
Too much.
Well, as like a kind of final thought on this album is, I think this is both their best album. It lives in a space of being their best album, but also not their best album. I think that's where it lives because I can't deny someone saying it's the best album. But I could fall short in a heated debate about that if someone knew the Onions. So and also I think this is an album that I'm intrigued for us to cover. So stand by, people, because I think where I would place it in the list in my head of my album order, if you were asking me today, would be relatively low, I guess. But I just have a funny feeling that when we do the deep dive on it, that it's going to end up in a higher position than I originally thought, is what I'd say.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But I would never argue someone saying it's the best album. I think I'd say, well, okay. As long as they were a proper fan that listened to all of the albums, they didn't just say they weren't shit after the fifth one. But like, if they were a proper fan and they said that AM's the best one, I wouldn't take them to task on it.
Get your mind up, people. Did they go shit after the second one? Did they go shit after the fifth one? Make your bloody mind up.
Yeah, they can't. And then when the next one's great, they'll move back to that, them being great again, and then
that's good.
And one after that will be experimental, and people go, "They've lost it again." It's like, yeah, they're 45 now, so can we drop this shit now?
Can't
yo-yoing shit. Yeah.
Well, that's about as good a place as anywhere to wrap it up, really, because we're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna say it. It's just gonna go downhill from saying.
We've already gone into
a really intelligent point there.
We've gone into more depth than we expected to anyway, because obviously this isn't supposed to be much of us discussing it, because we will be doing the full thing. We didn't even talk about like the B-side. That's more the era though than the album. This is the celebration of the album, because some of the B-sides in this era are as well. So yeah, chef's kiss.
We've got that to come in about 10 years. Right, don't forget, if you've enjoyed this episode or any of our others, go in the episode description and find all our links to all our stuff. You can subscribe
Not Jamie Oliver
for those of bonus stuff.
Just clarifying the chef now, it should be quite too much saliva, I think, left on that.
Yeah.
Might give Gordon Ramsay a kiss. I reckon that'll be a dry lip, and I could just move on. Whereas Jamie Oliver, there'd be too much presence left.
Well, Gordon Ramsay would have saliva like on his face from all the shouting and screaming. He's going to be spitting a bit, so there's going to be saliva there.
Well, I'll just stick to Nigella then.
Is the correct answer. Thank you. You beat you to it. That's the only chef whose fluids I want anywhere near me. Right, this is the hit. Check out all our links in the episode description. Like, follow, rate, review, subscribe. It's much appreciated. Check out our subscriber content. Very reasonable prices. Dan, say goodbye to the nice people and the horrible ones.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, eh? It's not going away, is it? Bye, everyone.
It did after that, funnily enough.
Bloody fucking hell, didn't it? Oh, they'll have brought it back by time. Oh no, this episode's going out in like a month's time. I was going to say,
by time that advance, 4 years from that.
By the time we get onto this album properly.
Well, that'd be great timing, wouldn't it? If they release another album in 2025 as we're doing AM, or as we're in the middle of or near the end of AM, they release another rock album. That would be a good juxtaposition. Yeah. Not juxtaposition, actually. That's not the right word, is it? It'd be a good,
We'd like it.
We'd like it.
Yeah,
it'd be a good chat.
All that matters, really. Right, let's go. Bye.
Bye.
Lights to the floor and sweat on the wall. Pages of hope. She's a silver lining, a lone ranger riding through an open space. In my mind, when she's not right there beside me, I go crazy, 'cause you is the one I wanna be. And satisfaction feels like a distant memory, and I can't help myself alright. One ever says, are you mine? Well, are you mine? Are you mine?
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Nick Lee and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. And if you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We will see you next week with more of the same.